House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes doubling down on Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Congressman Nunes outlined the potential consequences if Sessions does not comply with the subpoena investigating alleged surveillance abuses at the Justice Department. He called into Fox and Friends yesterday, basically saying he is ready to pursue the contempt of Congress charges. And then right after that, I had House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy on Sunday Morning Futures, and I asked him to weigh in as well.
2 weeks ago, we sent a letter to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, a classified letter. Per usual, it was ignored, not acknowledged, just completely ignored. So last week we sent a subpoena, and then on Thursday we discovered that they are not going to comply with our subpoena. The only thing left that we can do is we have to move quickly to hold the Attorney General of the United States in contempt.
Every time they have stonewalled us, we have not given up. And when we did get the information, it was very interesting how the information would come forward, that people would then start resigning or quitting from these organizations based upon the action that they took place.
Now, the Justice Department fired back, saying that it informed Nunes that providing the information could pose grave implications for national security. That's according to the letter obtained by Fox News, that letter of Thursday saying, we're not going to comply with this because it's national security issues. Joining us right now, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you.
Good morning. I'm still chuckling at the ease with which Warren Buffett can say, yeah, we made it $10 billion.
Yeah, right. That's
another day at the office.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Right.
So what about this,
Well,
Judge?
this is a little bit more complicated than it appears at first blush. The Justice Department will probably, and I'm not defending what they do, to explain it, will probably take the position that the documents that are sought are about an ongoing criminal investigation. Now, who wrote the laws that says you can keep secret documents about an ongoing criminal investigation? The Congress. So if the Congress wants to change that law, they can change it. They haven't. Now, if I receive a subpoena for something that I think is secret, I can't basically say to the sender of the subpoena, go take a hike. I have to take the subpoena to a federal judge and ask the federal judge to quash it. That's just the phrase we use to eradicate it. And then the federal judge will look at the documents and decide if they are privileged, as I claim. The Justice Department doesn't do that. The Justice Department basically says, go take a hike. If you want to enforce the subpoena, you know how to enforce it. So I don't know where this is going to go. The Justice Department gets burned, it believes, when the progress of an ongoing criminal investigation is exposed for political reasons. On the other hand, the Congress is the regulator of the Justice Department, has the right to see nearly everything. I say nearly everything because Congress wrote the laws that says there are certain things nobody can see, like the progress of a criminal investigation midstream, the names of confidential informants, and what they told FBI agents.
Do you see that actually changing, though? I don't see Congress doing anything about that, right?
You know,
that's not the point. The point is we know what has taken place in 2016. We know that there's been an incredible amount of bias from the FBI and the DOJ. Let's not make believe there's business as usual. Well, it's not business as usual.
Correct. But there still is an ongoing criminal investigation. Congress may not like it, but it's there. Who knows when this Mueller thing is going to be over? But he is still investigating these matters for the DOJ to expose the contents of that investigation. Now, the DOJ will argue, I'm not always a pro-government person, as you know, would impair the investigation. And if you don't believe us, just look at the federal rules of criminal procedure, which Congress wrote, which allow us to keep this stuff secret during the pendency of the investigation.
Every time we have seen redactions and then they were unredacted, it was clear that the reason they were redacted is because they didn't want to embarrass themselves.
Correct.
So we've been down this road before. We've seen the redactions and then the unredactions, and it had zero to do with national security. So that's why I'm like, that's not the point.
That's why it is best for a judge, a neutral judge, to look at this and say, you're not going to redact this because it makes Jim Comey or Andy McCabe look bad. You can only redact it if it's going to impair the investigation or expose a source and expose that person to danger.
The president tweeted about it this morning. I want to tell you what he said. He says the 13 angry Democrats in charge of the Russian witch hunt are starting to find out that there is a court system in place that actually protects people from injustice. And just wait until the courts get to see your unrevealed conflicts of interest.
I think he's probably talking about the argument in court last week before Judge Ellis, who questioned the nature and extent of Mueller's ability to prosecute.
Exactly.
I think that is just a hypothetical argument, because if Mueller can't prosecute, the federal prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia will prosecute. There's plenty of evidence of bank fraud. The only question is who gets to prosecute it.
Right, and that gets the scope issue. It should move to that court if it's not related to the original scope of the
Just
issue,
as the investigation of Michael Cohen moved to the Southern District of New York, Mueller stumbled upon this stuff and said, look, I'm not in New York. This doesn't directly relate to me. You guys handle it.
Yeah. The other thing is interesting that Devin Nunes is saying contempt of Congress charges against Jeff Sessions,
yes,
but not Rod Rosenstein.
It's very odd.
He views Rod Rosenstein as being conflicted.
Correct. But Rod Rosenstein has the authority to say surrender the documents. Jeff Sessions doesn't, because he's recused himself.
Right.
But I will tell you that contempt is the way to do it. Not impeachment, as they threatened to do last week. That was a joke. But contempt is the way to do it.
Why?
Because that will force a lawyer to reply. A lawyer who's held in contempt can lose his license to practice.
Got it. Judge, great insights. Thank you. Judge Andrew Napolitano.